So what's up, guys? In this video, I'm going to be showing you guys how I was able to make the video where I was actually coming out from the 3D world and through the puzzle and then moving into that beach which you have seen in my recent video on Instagram. So without further ado, let's get started. So I already have my clip here, as you can see it. The first thing I'm going to be doing is I have to bring this clip down here. So as you can see the clip. So the next thing I'll be doing is to make a 3D camera track to track the stuff. So tracker is supposed to be here, but it's not here. If you're not seeing your tracker here, come over to Windows and then tracker. You can see it here. As you can see, so I'm going to click on track camera. So I'm going to let this track to let it do its thing. Probably the duration might be based on the quality of your video. If your video quality is very high, it will take time. As you can see it by this side, it's calculating all the frames in the video. So guys, as you can see now, it's done tracking. Let me put this on low quality so that you guys can see it faster. So it's done tracking. You can see some tiny dots on the floor, like marker. Those are the track point they're actually showing. So the first thing I'm going to be doing now, I'll go into this part here where I'm standing, or as you can see, you see this big thing on the screen. So first time I have to select this area here. So left click and hold your mouse button down and then select some amount of points. And then once you've gotten that, right click and then create solid and camera. So basically we've got that now. If I should take this back now, you can see, so you can see it there. It's actually there in 3D, but it's not looking like it's in 3D. It's just there. It looks like it's not in 3D. So first of all, I have to scale this down because it's too big. So this is the layer. So select this, press S on your keyboard, and then scale this down. So the sides are somehow bent. So I'm just going to shrink this thing down. Or whatever way it is, I'm still trying to scale it down to fit and make this thing big so you guys can see it. So I'm going to rotate this a bit and scale this down a bit. Yaha. So I should rotate this now by the side and then keep this. I just want to put it like as if it's on the floor. So let's just take it back and see if it's actually 3D. So wow, we got this in 3D now. So you can see that it's actually there in 3D space. So now the next thing we need to do is rotoscope myself working out on the portal. That's the next thing we need to do. So guys, rotoscoping is one kind of stressful thing I don't like, but we have to do it. So select the layer of you working, which is this. Double press Ctrl G to duplicate the layer. I'm going to rename this as roto layer, or let me just say roto. So double click on this and then select your you can also delete this camera stuff out from the shot. Delete it out, then select the roto layer and then select your roto brush and then select yourself. Let me put this in full resolution so this thing can actually work well. So this is going to be taking some time, so basically I just have to select the myself and then make this rotate by itself. The size I don't want, press alt on your keyboard and then remove them out the keyboard. I'm just trying to make, for the sake of tutorial, I'm just trying to make this pretty fast so you guys can see. So press alt on your keyboard to remove any part. So once it's red, you can just remove any part. You can zoom in to make sure all parts are actually good. So I know you guys might be thinking this is what you're going to do frame by frame. No, it actually has an automatic track system that helps you to track the whole thing. I'm just showing you the basics so you guys can actually do this all by yourself. So I'm not going to be putting the whole process into this thing because it's time consuming. So yeah, so if I should leave it like this, let's say I put it back on full screen. So all I have to do is press play or press space on my keyboard to let it go. So while I move, it tracks myself automatically. It might not be good, so that's why you might always come back to adjust your roto stuff and everything, all the. Now, as you can see now, it's done with rotoscoping, even though it's not that perfect. We just need it for the sake of tutorial. So the next thing we have to do is click on freeze frame. So it's going to crop just like you cropping the whole part of the thing you rotoscope. So So now we're done with the rotoscope. As you can see everything. So if I should go back to the normal composition layer, you can see how it's looking. So I'm going to be taking, let me, like, it looks like nothing has happened. If I should turn down this video layer, which is this one here, if I should turn it off, you can see it probably. Let me select the PNG view. You can see it has been keyed out, and because we track stuff in 3D, you can still see it's still there. So let me say I put the rotos stuff at the top.
Okay, so guys, so you can see it now that after I finished the rotoscope, you can see the object is actually the pink object is actually in front of me, and that's after the rotoscope is done. I actually like to take my time to go back to rotoscope and try to perfect it. Yeah, everything's actually looking all good like this. So the next thing we need to do is add a portal to this whole thing. We need to add a Doctor Strange portal. So I already have all my assets here, just like I said. I already bought everything I'll be needing for my stuff. So I'll be putting this at the link at the description for you guys to download and use this for your own project too. So I'm gonna be using a portal, this portal, which is this. Drag this down to your timeline. You can put this in front or back anywhere you want it. You see, it's actually really big. You can't actually see anything. So this is big. So the next thing we have to do is make this in 3D. So it goes in 3D. So now it's in 3D and it's really big and it's confusing. So now if I zoom out so you can actually see this clearly now. So I have to select this. This is the trick I normally use. Select this pen tool and then select because we need to see the four edges of this thing. So once you click on this, you see these dots here. Press Ctrl Z to undo that. So now you can see the four layers of this water layer. It's very, very big. So and we need to scale this down. 3D space. So press F on your keyboard on the portal layer and then scale this down. You can see down here, you can drag it up a bit. Now you can see the orientation is not fully rotated, it's not rotating to the right angle. So I need to rotate this. Press arrow on your keyboard, flip it either left, right. Okay, so getting this now. So scale this down till it fits in a bit. So I think it's a bit too small. Let's get this out. Fit to zoom and then scale out. As you can see it now, because we need to get to the part where we need the portal. So let me rotate this thing to be straight a bit. Ctrl Z. Let me just this rotate. Mind I'm using After Effects CC 2020 for this tutorial. I'm going to scale this up so it gets to that big, gets my size, like a bit of my height. Now if I shake this back now, you can see the portal is actually there.
Yo, okay, so as you guys can see, the portal is a bit too far from me. I need to get into the part where I'm entering the portal, and the portal starts a bit too late. So what we have to do now is that we have to adjust the portal to get in. I think to this point, at least at this point, this is the spot where I'm actually marking. I'm using this pink stuff as a reference. So at this point, portals, I'm supposed to already be inside the portal. So I'm going to be taking this thing back like to the Z direction. Let me press P on my keyboard to make this much easier to take it closer to me towards the Z direction. So it's coming closer. You still need to be a bit more closer. So I still have to increase it, the Z direction. And I can scale this up a bit just to make it faster. Scale, let me put it at least 8. Will be good enough. So 8 seems a little bit too big. So let me take it down to 7. Or maybe 6 because it's already too close to me. So yeah, this is looking a bit good now. Yeah, this is good. So now I'm going to change the mode. Like you see, it's already too black, so I'm going to change the mode from normal to add so I can get that transparency we needed. So that's another thing again. So as you can see, I'm actually moving and the portal is still trying to open. So we need to trim out most of those parts where it was trying to open. We need to get to that part where it already started working. So let's say this part. So I have to select the portal layer, press Alt and open bracket to trim out the beginning part, and then take this back till it fits. So now if you should play this now, you get something like this. So guys, you can see how it's looking now. So moving out through the portal. So now the next thing we need to do is that we need to get the background. Like we need to get this other part of the environment to be like the 3D environment scene which we actually got. But before we do that, we need to get this layer. So in order for us to do that, we need to get the rotoscope layer or the main video layer, which is this one here. Duplicate that, and then call this let's rename this and call it inner background. So this will be actually inside the portal to look like we're going inside the beach. So this is what will be it. So I'll take this underneath the layer, the portal layer. So select this, check on the effect part, and then delete the 3D camera tracker. It should not be there, nothing should be there. So now make sure it's underneath the portal. So now we'll create a circular shape, a max path around this portal, because that's where we want to be getting our view from. So select this your shape tool, and then select this ellipse tool. So draw a circular shape, yeah, and then select this. So make sure now we have to animate this to follow the circular shape which we the portal shape which we created, because as the portal is expanding, the beach is actually revealing itself. So press M on your keyboard, which is on the inner background layer. So click on the stopwatch, and as soon as you keep moving, you need to animate the size of this. Double click on this, expand the size to make sure it fits with that of the portal. Yeah, so it fits with it slowly. Take it, say going. You can then extend it more. So you can take it back to the beginning where it all started. So you have to shrink this thing down to the smallest small. Make sure it's very very small that no one can see it. Let me zoom this a bit closer. It's too big, so still zoom it down, 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 down. Sorry, to zoom it in. Put it here. So go a few frames forward as it's going up. Make sure it's actually following the portal as it's opening, just to be sure. So you can see it's actually following it. Yeah. So as you can see that thing actually follows it. So now it might be looking like as if it's not actually working. Let's turn back this layer, this one here, this first main background layer. If we turn this off, so you can see it from here, like there's a circle. Let me take this back to the beginning. You can see it from the portal. There's a circle coming out from it. You can see how it's looking now. So it's actually, everything's actually getting into place slowly, slowly, slowly. We're getting into place. So now the next thing we need to do is, let me come back here, select the one which is the inner background layer, press F on your keyboard to feather the max patch so that it fades a bit in. It looks off, not that sharp. So that's how it's looking now. So it actually look as if the beach is already there. I'm actually walking into the beach. So the next thing we need to do is create the 3D environment, which we will be this whole other part that looks like a PNG video. We need to put in 3D background. This is where your 3D plugin comes in, your element 3D. So for those of you not actually having element 3D, I'm not sure you'll be able to do this. So you need to get the element 3D plugin. Click on new, then solid. So you guys can see, make sure your orientation match the one of the video, which is exactly 1080 by 1920. So click OK, and then select the element layer, and then come over to your effect and then type element. I already typed it here, so this is it. So I'm just going to double click on it while the element layer has been selected. So you can see the green stuff is actually has gone away. So click on scene setup. So first thing we have to do is create the floor. So come over to create, add a plane. So as you can see, this is the plane. So I have to scale this up so it's a bit big. So yeah, this looks big. Come over to your preset, and then we need an environment that's actually like that beach. So I'm going to come over to the basic environment, environment magnet, basic environment. So I'm just going to be using this one that looks like a sky, because if you know that the one we use actually like a city, so you can see it here. So now we need to add in textures to make it look like as if it's actually on the rooftop. So I'm actually going to be leaving this at the link at the description. So come over here to the plane and default, then come over to this diffuse, select this, click on this, and from files, so we need to select the files for the texture. I already have this on my system. So as you can see, so I'll be using, let me check this. So this is the floor I'll be using, so meta floor. So this will be it. So click OK. So as you can see, it's actually reflective and the ground is actually there. So you can come over to just to make it look good. For those of you who are actually good in element 3D, you can actually work this out. So for the UV repeat, I'm going to change this to 2 by 2. So this should be looking a bit good. So I can also scale it up a bit to make it more bigger than this. So this is good though. So as you can see how it's looking now. Let me zoom out so you can see it. So I'll be adding just one asset first so we can know our direction. Let me add I'm having a rooftop pack toolkit. So this is it. So I'll be adding this outlet door which you actually saw in the video. So I just clicked on it. I should zoom in closer. So you can see there's been added, but it looks a bit small. But let me just scale it up a bit so you guys can see it clearly. So it's a bit big now. So let me just go into the video so we can get our directions clearly. So it's looking like what we added, we're not actually seeing it here. I've scrubbed through the video, it's not actually here. So what we have to do is come over to this active camera, come to custom camera. So you can see it, guys, from 3D perspective view. It's actually somewhere here. See the portal there we added. This is our portal. So let me press C on my keyboard to rotate the camera. Let's see where it's actually located. So you can see it. So the portal is above there, and then the stuff added is actually right here. So we need to drag this upward, and you can see the pink stuff we added here. See it here. So we need to take this upward. So right by doing this, we have to create a null object for this. So we can easily just drag this thing as we want. So come over to group 1 because that's where the object. Let me come back to my normal thing. Come over to group 1. You can see this stuff. Let's say create group null. Click on drop down, then click create. So now it automatically creates a null for you that you can use in dragging. If I click, I can easily drag this now. So let me come over to the active camera so we can see what we're doing. So you can see where the stuff is. It's actually below the screen. See where it is, really small down here. So we have to drag this up from here to this part. So press V on your keyboard to, and then see this is the point. So drag it up. Oh, you can see something is actually up. Oh, I think we dragged it too much. I know this is actually small. You guys can see that I'm actually zooming out. Let me fit in back so you guys can see it now. It's actually there now, but it's looking really big. Whoa. So we have to take our time to adjust this. I'm going to speed up the process though, but maybe I might just leave it so you guys can see it. Rotate this. So this is the problem as 3D artists. This is what you might pass through sometimes. You just have to take your time, measure the height, your height as a normal human, pass through this. So basically it has to be by that side, the one we see in the video. So we still have to take it to the other side, that side. So it still needs to go a bit into the screen. Take it to the side. Oh, it's still gone too far. We need to be seeing it on set, and it needs to be behind. The portal needs to be in front of this thing. So yeah, okay, the portal is actually in front of it though. Yeah, but the door still looks too big. So we need to scale this down by pressing hold select the null layer, press S on the keyboard, scale this down a bit, take it up, and this should look good. Okay, yeah. So we're getting there slowly. So for the first part of the 3D layer, see you can see how it's looking. Yeah. But now the portal is not looking that much. You can take your time to adjust, guys. This is just for the sake of tutorial. Mine might not be looking perfect on the tutorial like the way it's looking on the video, but this is just for the sake of tutorial, guys. Take your time to make your own look pretty much perfect than this. Okay, spend more time working on your stuff. I'm just trying to do this for the sake of tutorial. I'm trying to speed up time. So but you guys, I hope you guys understand what I'm actually doing. So this thing is actually not actually on the ground, it's not balanced, so I need to take this to the floor. Yeah, so we've got that now, but the rooftop, this house here looks too big, so I have to scale this down a bit. Come back to elements, open your scene interface, select this and scale this down a bit. Come back again to check. Okay, it's scaled down now. We cannot be doing this back to back every time, coming back to elements. There are other ways to do this, but I'm just for the sake of this. You can check my other tutorial on how to scale stuff individually. I'm not going to be going into that. So yeah, you can see it now, it's actually smaller now, so I scaled it down and bring it forth a bit. Yeah, so you guys can see it now, it's actually all there now. So now, but you can see this part of the video, the whole thing, the whole portal is not the length of this whole 3D world is not up to this part, so we need to adjust this to fit into this part. So come over to your scene, select the plane layer, and then drag it backwards a bit, zoom out, click on scale, and then just this red side, drag it out so it be a bit long, and then adjust the side to fit in. So it's not just on one part, so we have a long edge now. So click OK. So as you can see now, it fits everywhere. But another thing you guys also notice from the video, my layer was also very reflective, so we need to make it a bit the ground floor need to be make it a bit reflective. I can also add just one last asset to make it look more cool. Let me select this AC vent. So now I'll have to select the plane, and then right click on this part. So reflective mode, let's mirror surface, so it reflects the surface. So come over to the texture, and then the reflectivity, you can see it here, you can increase this up a bit. As you can see, it's actually been affected. Then still go down to the glossiness. Okay, it's actually here. You can see if you shake it up, it's actually a bit reflective now. Now go back to the part to it's a texture. So here, sorry, the bump map, if you reduce this now, it becomes very reflective. You can see how reflective it got when we reduce this. So if I should reduce this down now to 10, you see it's very reflective. You see it's changing. So I'll just keep it at least at 25. Then select this, sorry, come back the texture at the top, bring this down a bit, take this one up a bit. Yeah, so click OK. So as you can see, the stuff is actually being reflective here. The object here is being reflective here. So that's it for there. Click OK. So you can see how it's looking now. It's beginning to fall into place like the one we saw on the video. Now to make it look more, a little bit more also realistic, select the element layer, go down to render settings, go over to your ambient occlusion, and then enable ambient occlusion. You can see what just happened when we turn that ambient occlusion on. See how it's looking. So if I should move this from ambient occlusion and select that ray trace, you can see it's beginning to look a bit realistic now. So guys, if you're actually using this ray trace, make sure you have a good graphics card, because if you're actually turning on the ray trace on, the ray tracer on, it's actually consume more strength of a PC. If you're not having a graphics card, it tends to make everything look really slow. So make sure you have a good graphics card. The next thing you need to go on is to turn on the shadows. So come over to this part, enable shadow, and then come over to show shadow mapping, and I have to change this to ray trace. So you can see how it's looking now. So now we need to add light so we can have shadows to what we're doing, because there was actually light to give all this thing shadow. So come over to this part, right click, and then click on new, and then light. So we're adding a parallel light. I'm taking to this side, and then make sure you turn on cast shadow. The light strength should be at least maybe about 150 will be good enough. I'll change the lighting colors to a bit of yellow, so that sun orange yellow look should be there. If I should click OK now, you can see what just happened. The scene just automatically changed color, the brightness and stuff actually changed. That's not to worry. I'll take this to this part a bit. So now we need to control the lighting to where it's supposed to be. See the lighting layer here, so it's actually below the screen. Press H on the keyboard, takes up. So it's actually here, so I'm just going to drag this up so it goes to the top. You select this, take this upward. So now we need the lights to be facing So as you can see, you can see the shadow actually moving to different parts. So we need the sun to be at this part. So come over to your custom camera again, so we can easily control the light where it's supposed to sit. So let's select the light layer. So this is the light, this is our camera. Let's zoom in a bit. So if I should select our camera layer now, our camera 3D camera to spin around, so you can see the whole thing in 3D space. See the light here, so I have to take this to the side so it works like every other normal light. You can press Ctrl on your keyboard to move the position of the light. So you can see it's actually, we're trying to get it now, so it should be down a bit here. Point at which it's emitting, the light is pointing to. So behind here we can put the light here, so you can see the sun is actually coming from left to right, so that's why the shadows are actually in front. So if you should go over to custom view now, so active camera, so you can see this now. So you can see there's a tiny piece of shadow here from this object. You can see it here, it's been added. So fits back to camera. So that's it for there. So now if you're actually having any issue with your image or your video or any of your video layers because you added the light, if you notice when we added the light, some things actually change color. Like your image might get dark, or some, if your image is actually getting dark or not showing, all you have to do is select the image layer or your rotoscope layer or whatever layer that is actually being dark. Press AA on your keyboard twice. Press AA on your keyboard, and mind you, it's actually for layer that's actually in 3D that will get affected by the light. So press AA on your keyboard twice, and you can see where it says accept light. Let me take it so you guys, you can see it. So it says accept light. You have to turn this off so it does not affect any of your layers. So those are only for layers in 3D, that's what the light will be affecting. So now moving on, so we've actually got this part now. The next thing is to make it the portal reflect on the floor, because the floor is actually being reflective now. So we need to also make it reflect on the floor. So go over to the portal layer, press Ctrl G to duplicate this, and then we can select any one of them. Let's select one at the top, bring it down. So bring it down a bit, or take it up a bit, and then for the rotation, flip it a bit. Use the, yeah, it should be like this, so it looks like it's actually slanted on the floor. Make sure it's actually still on the 3D layer. Make sure it's actually still as 3D. Okay, so switch over the toggle switch mode, and then change it from add to screen, or screen is not good enough. We can leave it as add, but this time reduce the opacity by pressing T on the keyboard. Reduce the opacity down a bit. Yeah, so if you should play this now, you have something like this now. So as you can see, it's actually reflecting on the floor, but both of the portal layer looks too dark. This is because of this light we added, so we have to disable accepting light for, like I just said. So press AA on your keyboard twice, and then accept light, turn this off. You can see that actually becoming bright now. Also the other one, press A on the keyboard twice, and then turn off accepting light, turn it off. So you can see everything's actually bright now. So yeah, you can actually reduce the brightness of the portal underneath, which is this one. Reduce it to some extent because it looks too bright. Or maybe you can change the mode to screen, or screen looks too dark. Let's leave it as add. Take it up to be about 60, depending on the way you want your video to be. You can increase or decrease this. So guys, this is just for the sake of tutorial, guys. This tutorial is not actually that perfect, so but I hope you guys can get the idea I'm trying to pull in here, just to give you a brief on how I was able to get this whole thing to happen. So that's it for this part. So now the next thing we need to do is add in the other cities that are behind the other side, like that side, so we can actually see that clearly. So I already have the city here, which I'll be adding. Just like I said, everything will be added in the link at the description. So bring in this first one here. Make sure it's behind the elements layer, so you can see it here. So yeah, so I have to scale this. Press S on the keyboard, scale this down a bit. So then I have to make this layer a 3D layer. Like all time, it's actually have to fix the orientation to make it fit to that part. So guys, you can actually see I've actually fixed the orientation. So but you can see the color is actually dark. This is likewise also same thing I talked about, the light being added to the video. So press A on your keyboard and then turn off accept lights so it doesn't accept light. So you can see it's actually now bright now. So we need to scale this down a bit because if we actually get closer, it's zooming into the shot. So because everything is now in 3D, so select and scale this down a bit so it actually looks like it's far. So I think this is good enough. So at this point it's good enough. So we need to add, there are two buildings we'll be adding. So we're adding the front building. This is this one. So I'll also be making this in 3D too. And I also have to fix in the orientation to match like the first one. So here we go again. So as you can actually see, like old time, this one is also still dark. So I have to press A on my keyboard twice and then turn off the accept lights. So I'm just doing this over and over again so you guys can actually understand this faster. So if I should take this up now, you can see it's behind the other layer. So we need to bring this forward a bit. So by pressing this, then dragging it forward. So I think it's now ahead of the first one. So yaha, yaha, yaha. So it's now there. So yeah, so it's now looking like the city is actually in front of me and I'm actually walking like gang 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 gang. It's not looking that realistic though. So that's what I was saying. You guys can take your time to work more on your scene. This is just for the sake of tutorials. I'm not spending much time here, but I'm just giving you guys a pro tip on how I was able to do it so you guys can actually see it and also do it for yourself. So this is how it's looking now from Boo. So I actually like to take more time to work on the portal positioning because the way it was actually firstly positioned, it was not actually good. I also had to take my time to work on the reflection too to make sure everything match and balance really well. So I had to scale it out, change some of the position parameters to make sure it's looking good, just to make everything look really really cool. And by still doing that, I also had to change the position of the inner background, the one we used of the beach. So I also need to adjust the keyframes of the max part we previously did. I increased the scale and position, change the position of the portal, but now we can see that the shape of the inner background which we actually created is not actually going in line with the portal. So now we need to adjust that too because of everything needs to be adjusted. So first of all, go to the smallest part which we actually did from the beginning. We're actually working with those keyframe with it. So I have to go zoom inner to this. My quality is on quarter, so let me put this on full so we can see it clearly. So press V on the keyboard and then drag this down to the part where it's actually open. Go over to the next keyframe we did. Maybe we did some keyframes, so which is here, this one. So let me zoom out a bit so we can actually see everything out a bit. So I had to readjust all the max parts to make it fit into this new thing because the first one we did, the portal was not actually looking all good, so I had to adjust it just to make sure everything looks perfect for the tutorial. So I'm fixing this now, and for all the keyframes, that's we are actually adjusting this for all the keyframes. So let me delete this first one we did here, then move this one here to this part, or probably for this part we can do it here. Okay, so we're moving on to the next one, which is the next keyframe on the inner background we created, remember guys, so which is here. So we also have to scale this up, double click on this, scale, adjust the max part up, down. Wow, don't spoil this material and I'll talk plenty times there, man. Ah, la 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 la, I have to voice over. Doing. That off is light there, Abi. I can't move there. So as you can see how it's all looking now, it's all looking much better than the first time now because I had to make some adjustment on the max pad and also on the scaling and part of the portal. Although it's not looking that much good, which you can also take your time to work much better on yours. So the next thing we have to do, you can see the one on the floor which is actually reflecting. The reflection is too really bright. So I think okay, this should be on top here. So I have to decrease this down to a bit. I think to about 40 or 43 will be good enough. So now it's looking a bit much better. Okay, so the next thing we need to do now is to get on those particles that actually fall on top of my body because the part where I actually came out of the portal, like because if you're actually in the portal, the sparks that are actually coming out will definitely fall on top of your body. So we'll be adding some sparks to my body. So I'm going to be using one of these assets which I already got here on my which I'm going to be dropping. So we're going to be using one of these. So we're going to be using this and also going to be using one of these. I think the shield spark. Okay, so we're going to be using this. This was one I actually used in the video. So we're also going to be adding that to the video. So now that we've added that, now we can actually see anything though. So we need to make this layer visible so we can see it by pressing first we need to make it as 3D. Okay, so we can see that if we make it 3D it looks very big, so we need to scale this down first to see what part it's fitting into. Scale this down. Okay, so it needs to be on this part where I'm actually coming out of the portal, so we still need to scale this. Still looks too big. Sorry, let me zoom out so you can see it. Wow, it's looking really long. So we need to flip the orientation by pressing R on the keyboard to rotate it to see the other part. See here, so it's still looking too big, so scale this down. Yeah, this is good enough. So let's move back into the shot, fit zoom. So this is the part where I actually got into the portal, which is somewhere around here. So we need this thing to spark, to drop some spark, which is here. It's looking a bit dark, you can't actually see that much. So scale this up by pressing S on your keyboard. Yeah, you can see the round circle of spark which the portal will be emitting. So toggle on switch changes from normal to add. So we have this now, but still looking a bit too small. We need to scale this up so it's same size with the portal. So this should be good. This should be good. If we should play this now, this is what you get. So I've scaled it on now. You can see it's looking a bit dark. This is because remember guys, we added a light, a 3D light. So anything we make as 3D, any image or video we make as 3D, it's also making it dark. So press A on your keyboard twice and shut down accept light. Where is it? So accept light, turn it off. So you can see it's not getting all bright back. So you can also add your optical glow to it if you want to add it by adding, this is a plugin for Red Giant. See, it's making it look very bright, but I'm going to take this down to like 6 or 5 and then make this one to be around 4. So if I should shut that down, you see how it makes it look bright, right? Or you can take this down a bit and turn this back on. Yeah, so this is it. So guys, this is how it's looking. Wow, now you can see how it's looking. So it's coming out from the portal. So basically we need to get one in front of the portal, like the spark needs to be showing that it's already there in the portal. So we can duplicate the spark layer, take it front a bit and then bring this one here but this time we need to put it underneath the roto layer, which is this. So take the shield down and then bring it underneath the roto layer, so it's actually like one is already there, then when it gets into the shot, this other one just moved in. So let's take this and bring this is the second one, bring this down a bit. We need some from the top, so this will be okay, this will be good. Yeah, so that's for one. We still need the other one. We're adding two um so we need, at least we need this one. Yeah, this one will be good. So we're adding this one onto the shots too. So for this one, we'll not be making this one as 3D because this one is already moving towards the camera. So let's scale this down a bit. Voila. So change the normal from normal to add. Yeah. And then adding, you can just come back to this first one we added, copy the optical glow, then add it to the shots, press B on the keyboard. So you can see how it's looking now. It's looking like it's a snowflake or spark flake. You can see how it's looking. All good. Yeah. So now it's looking good. So the next thing we need to do now, when you get to the portal, this part, the portal light is supposed to emit, like shine on my body, because you're actually in somewhere where there's a harsh light. So come over to your roto layer, which is this one, then duplicate the layer. So now on this layer which you've actually duplicated, you need to change in mode from normal to add. So you can see it's very bright now. So now as you can see, it's very bright here. So let's shut down the layer first. This is roto 2. So we have to wait to that point where you get into the portal, which is here. So once you're underneath the portal, so press T on your keyboard, turn back the layer of the roto 2. So you see it's very bright. So take this down to about 70, or let's say 69, and then turn on your stopwatch, and then take this back a bit when you still move into the portal, and then reduce this down to 0. So when you're moving in, this is how it looks. You can see immediately it gets into the portal, there's a bright light, you see it. But immediately you move out of the portal, let's say you get to somewhere like this and where we don't see the light anymore, let's say at this point, select this and turn on the select the stopwatch, this part, to create another keyframe, and then move a bit forward, and then reduce this down to 0. Now I know you still see the light at the top, but we still have to work on that very soon. Just hold up. So let's say I immediately move out of the portal. Let's take this a bit. You should select both of them and then take it back. So it should be, we can extend this to also increase the duration at which the portal fades out. So now the next thing to do is the portal fading out, like portal effect to fade out, because we've already passed the portal, so it's no longer needed. So it's not supposed to be there, and also all the sparks and everything. So for the portal, so go over to the portal layer, which is this is the main one. This is the top portal, which is this one. So immediately you go out from the portal, we need to work with a lighting system so that it look as if you're actually fading out. So few seconds after you fade the light on your roto body, select the portal layer, which is the main one. Make sure it's the main one which is bringing out the light. Yeah, which is this one here. Press T on your keyboard, select the opacity from 100, and then move a bit forward, and then reduce this down to absolutely 0. Yeah, so you can see how it is. So we have that now. So you see, wow. You can also make that faster by dragging this closer. It goes out faster depending on how you want it to be. So you can see how it's looking now. You can see from normal where your body was actually, you see the lightning was actually normal in the body, and then it got in the portal, it was very light, and then it moved out, it's now all normal. Wow, wow, wow. It's not looking great, guys. It's looking great, guys. So you can see it. Yeah, wow. So now another thing I'd like us to also put some correction to is the environment, to make it look a bit more realistic. You can take your time to work on your render settings, come back to elements to work on your realistic environment to make it look more realistic, guys. Depending on your graphics card, you can go back to your shadows, your what's it called, ambient occlusion, increase some of this, like to I can actually take it up to make it to increase some of the realism. Also for the exposure, go over to your lighting, your physical environment, increase the exposure a bit. You can, or you can take it down a bit, and then let me put the quality at full so you guys can see it. So you can see everything clearly, guys. So the gamma you can reduce or increase to just to make it look a bit realistic for you. And then also for your, I think for the light setup, light fallout. So just take your time to work on this. Let's put the sun. Let's see how it looks. So you can see how it looks on the sunny, or you can just leave it as none. So basically, guys, you guys can just take your time to work on this. Work on this, guys, just to make it look much better for your own render purpose. This is actually for the sake of tutorial, so it's not that perfect. So I'm just actually doing it for the sake of tutorial, so it's not that perfect. The last thing I'll be doing is to get a reflection of myself because the ground is a bit reflective. So what I have to do is select the roto layer, press Ctrl D on my keyboard, select this and press arrow. So I'm going to be rotating this now so you can see me now. But one thing you can notice is that see the microphone is on this other side, and if I want to get a reflection on my shadow, it's this microphone is supposed to be on this other side. So I have to make this layer a 3D layer. Oops, it's moving down, so I have to scale this down first a bit. It's actually being rotated to the other side, so let me zoom out. So press arrow on your keyboard, rotate this now. It's looking a bit really big, but that's not a problem. So rotate it again, make it straight. Press S on your keyboard to scale it down to fit in your accurate size, like the one in the video. So it's still not that straight, but let's just scale it down first. So scale. Oh, it's off the screen. So here, so press R on your keyboard again. This should be slanted. Yeah, so I think this is good now. Let's do a fit. If we can zoom this out, it's still not looking that good. We need to make it straight. So press R on your keyboard again. Sorry. Rotate. Yeah, I think we now have an accurate shape now. So if I should grab this and then take this up, you can see it here now like this. So we can see, you can see it's now straight now, but now we need to flip this to the other side. Let me just use this as 3D to flip to this other side. Voila. So we've got this now. It's actually now on the right side where it's supposed to be. But now you can see it's actually dark. So press AA on your keyboard because of the lights we added, the 3D light, and then go over to accept light and then turn this off. So we've got this now. You take this down, reduce the opacity, press T on your keyboard, reduce it down to let it fade. So now it should be somewhere around here. So the leg could be showing, so it looks as if you reflect on the floor. This is just a fake shadow pro tip, bro. So press P on your keyboard to animate the position while you're moving, because we're not doing it's in 3D. So as the camera is moving, you can see it's going back. So you just have to be taking this up. Yeah, you have to animate this manually. Shoot a bit up again, wait till you move, and take this a bit to the top. Probably get to the part where you don't need it for all the entire shot, just the few frames, the first few seconds where your legs are actually showing, and when you get to the standing floor you don't actually need it. So it's just for that few parts, so you can actually see it. This part I think is too up, so you can take it down a bit. So if I should play this now, this is how it's looking. You can see for my feet how it's looking. It's reflecting a bit of me, make it look more a bit more realistic. So immediately I was actually done with everything in the video. So what I had to do to make the colors and everything look blend, what I needed to do was select all the layers and then right click, pre-compose everything, so everything looks pretty much arranged in one layer. After it has been pre-composed, the next thing I'm going to do is go over to my Windows extension and Motion Bro to add that camera shake effect. Mind you guys, this is an external plugin which I actually downloaded. You guys can actually make a manual. If you guys don't have this plugin, you can actually leave this though. These are just external third-party plugins I actually installed just to get that camera shake effect. So I'm going to be adding that to the camera. So this is it. Let me say for motion camera shake, I'm going to be adding this second one to it, so you can see it get a bit zoomed. Once you can see it now, so it's actually get a bit zoomed. You actually get that shaky camera effect exactly seen in the video. So the next thing I'm going to be doing is that I need to add the color which we actually saw in the video. So I'm going to go inside the layer of the video again one last time, and then right click, come over to layer. I can also right click and do that from down here, but let me just come over to layer, select something here, layer, new, then add an adjustment layer. Let's take this to the top. Make sure it's at the topmost of the video. Take it to this part, and then come over to your effects and presets, type looks. This is actually a bullet from Red Giant Magic Bullets, so you can download this online too. So click on edit, and then I'm going to be using the shadow detail, which is this one, or low contrast. This is what I'm going to be using for this now. So click on this, so you can see the color is now more detailed. You guys can see how it's now looking. Everything's now looking really sharp. So if I should come out here now, that's pretty much everything I actually did in this video. So guys, thanks for watching this video. Okay, one last thing I'd like to say, that you guys should actually take your time to work more on your video to make your own environment look more realistic and much better than mine is a bit not that realistic. Okay guys, so that's pretty much it for now. Thanks for watching this video to the end. Hopefully don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more content like this. If this video was pretty helpful to you, don't forget to subscribe for more content like this next time. Subscribe so it motivates me to make more video. Thanks guys, and peace out.